Alright guys, and we're back. So in the last video, I showed you guys all of these incredible Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I am hoping to get graded. So like I said, I was hoping you guys could let me know which ones are your favorite and which ones you think I should maybe hold off on getting graded, which ones I should definitely get graded. And I'm going to ask for you guys to do the same thing as we look through the stack of Pokemon cards that I hope to get graded. Again, I would love to get them all graded, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll just be crazy and get them all graded, but without further ado, kind of want to just go to the stack and let you guys kind of just go, you know, just go for the ride and have a little bit of fun. So the first card up is a Legendary Collection Reverse Hollow Flareon. So again, I do want to tell some of the funny stories behind some of these cards. So this is a really, really cool card. Definitely not in mint condition. You can tell some white up here, some white over here. Waiting down there. Maybe even, is that dirt? I don't know. But this is actually a card. I did my best to clean it up. I found this in a shoebox. I mean, it's funny, when it comes to me and Pokemon, it's always me going to flea markets and finding these cards in shoeboxes. So there actually is a real big, like a lot of favor, I guess, or a lot of people. A lot of people love these reverse hollow legendary collections, and admittedly, I do too. And I don't really come across these very often unless you're like, you know, browsing online or something. So because this is a card I found in a shoebox, and I basically got it for essentially for like I think I paid $10 for the shoebox, and there were other cards in there, but it was just like, this is definitely the best part of that box. So for $10 I got this, and I kind of just want to see what it grades for. I wouldn't be surprised if it grades something like a 6, maybe a 7, because I think the front's not too bad, but again, you know, we'll see. I guess a minimum I would like, the minimum I would want for this is probably a 6, but we'll see. I think the next two cards are actually both Legendary Collection cards, so I'll just see this for next. This one is the Articuno. Now, this is also from a flea market, and this one was not in a shoebox, but it was in a big collection of Pokemon cards that like, a gentleman said he bought from a store that closed, that went out of business, unfortunately. And believe me, I was picking through that all day, but a lot of it was bulk. And there were some good stuff, but the guy was basically just asking like obscene prices, because some of the cards were completely just beat up. And even though I really wanted them, I was obviously not going to pay a premium for cards that were damaged. But there were some cards that he was giving to me for, you know, under value of what I believe they were going for. And one of them was the Articuno, which is actually, admittedly, a really nice reverse hollow from Legendary Collection. I think the blue and the white and the ice just looks really nice. So, well, yeah, I just want to see what it goes for. I think this might get an 8, but yeah, we'll see. And the last one is a reverse Squirtle. Now, you guys may have seen from one of my previous Collector's Hall videos or from one of my PSA videos that I do actually own a PSA 9 reverse hollow Charizard from Legendary Collection. In fact, actually, let me see if I can go grab it. Okay, now I'm back. Sorry. So I just wanted to say, like, again, maybe 2.5 years ago, I actually purchased a collection from this woman who had her son's old collection. He didn't want it anymore, and so I got I would admittedly say, an incredible deal. I think overall I paid $200 for this whole. It was a small collection, but in there were a couple nice cards, a couple of rares, a couple hollows, I think some jungle and fossil stuff, and also were these two, which I think were probably one of the highlights because they, you know, you don't really see these very often and in good condition. The Squirtle, I think, is pretty good. I would say this is probably like an 8, maybe a 9. That's kind of what I'm hoping that it gets. The Charizard that I got, yeah, this actually was sent in one of my first PSA submissions, came back a 9, which I was incredibly thrilled. I was so thrilled about that because this card is a treasure. Probably one of my favorite cards I currently own, just because like I really just don't see these very often. And so while I'll put him over here, just kind of like a good luck charm, I guess. I want you guys to see him. There we go. But anyway, so Squirtle is my favorite of the starters. I love Charizard, but I love Blastoise more. And Squirtle is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and I just think he deserves to get graded. And you know, I think he deserves to be under a nice PSA slab. Hopefully, oh, that's the wrong pile. Hopefully he gets graded pretty high. Again, I'm hoping for an 8, maybe a 9 if I'm lucky. I don't remember what's next. This is a first edition Squirtle from base set. Nothing as crazy as like the first edition hollows, but this is a relatively clean. Again, you can tell there's a little bit of nicks and stuff around The corners, I definitely would say the centering is not very good because you can tell this is thinner over here, thicker on the right side. I think the top's a little thicker and thinner on the bottom. But, ooh, actually, I never noticed that before. Is that? Oh, I really, really hope that's not on the card. Oh, no! Give me 1 second. I have to check this out for a second. Alright, sorry about that, folks. I actually was about to panic because there was like a bit of dirt here, but apparently it was only on like the sleeve, so I kind of just like cleaned it off. And so now it definitely looks a lot better. But again, this is by no means a 10, unfortunately. I do actually own a Gem Mint first ed Squirtle, but I think I have a couple. I think I have like maybe 1 or 2 more of these, but this is the cleanest one I had. Again, centering is not perfect, but regardless, I was kind of just man, these sleeves are like all crimply. So don't let the sheen from the light throw you off. But yeah, I think this could probably get like an 8, maybe if I'm lucky. And I just hoping for the best, and I kind of just want to see what it comes back as. Probably one of the cards that like on like the lower end, but technically right now I think Gem Mint 10 first ed starters, they go for up to about $300. So if I'm lucky, I can get like an 8 or a 9. Who knows? All right, up next is this is actually I can kind of just tell from the back of the card. It's this is a newer Pokemon card. This is actually one of the hyper rares. Now, when it comes to the modern day hyper rares, a lot of these are actually not that expensive. And I guess some of the exceptions would be like the Charizard hyper rares, like Charizard it Breaks In, Charizard and Reshiram, and just plain old good old hyper rare Charizard. And those high grades can go for a real premium, but I just like these hyper rares coming up in particular because they are some of my favorite Pokemon. Right here is Blastoise. He is my favorite of the starter Pokemon. Little Piplup's pretty cute, but yeah. So this is obviously a card that I don't think needs to be graded, but it would just be really cool if it would grade high. I think it could probably get a grade 10, but who knows? I'm not too familiar when it comes to grading newer stuff. In my opinion, I think this line's thinner on the left and on the right. But again, I don't really get modern cards graded that often, so I'm not quite sure. If it gets like a 9 or a 10, I'll be really happy. If it gets, I guess if it gets like an 8, I'll be a little bit disappointed, but we'll see. I think the next couple cards are all hyper rares, so we'll see. Next is Venusaur and Celebi. Now, Venusaur is my least favorite of the starters, but I still love Venusaur just because he is a classic starter Pokemon from base set, and from the original 150. Celebi is pretty cool, and I just think among the modern day hyper rare cards, this is just cool because it does have an iconic legendary Pokemon from Gen 2, and Gen 2 is actually my favorite generation of Pokemon. But Venusaur is just a very iconic Pokemon, and so I just felt like, it'd be kind of cool to get this graded as well. Again, similar to the other hyper rare cards in this video, I feel like they're not really, they're definitely on the lower end as far as getting graded. Like if they grade a 10, that's awesome, but they're not going to be like $1,000 or anything. Next is another Venusaur and Snivy. Now, I'm not a big fan of Snivy, but I do think that, because I did not play Black and White, so I don't really know much about Snivy and the rest of his other Pokemon in that game. But again, just because it is an iconic Venusaur like tag team hyper rare, I thought it'd be kind of cool. But again, most likely this card's not. I don't need to get this card graded, but it would just be nice to if I can throw it in there. But again, definitely on the lower end of my spectrum. And next is the Charizard and Reshiram tag team. Now, like I said, this is on the higher end for hyper rares that is worth getting graded, because if they do grade very high, this actually can be worth a couple $100, which is really nice. And considering that I got this for an incredibly cheap price, I'm hoping that this grades high. Again, I don't grade these cards often enough, so I really don't know how well centered these full art cards are, but it'd be really cool that if this grades pretty highly. I don't really think there's any imperfections. Centering doesn't seem to be pretty bad. Sorry, the lighting's terrible. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything down in that corner either. I think this could grade. So this could grade really highly, and we'll see what happens. But among all the hyper rares, this is one that I am looking into sending to PSA. Okay, what's next? This is actually a Gold Star. Now, I might have mentioned in some of my videos that I'm a big fan of shiny Pokemon, and I do have many shiny Pokemon, and there actually might be a few in this little video here. But the Gold Stars actually were like the shiny Pokemon that the Pokemon Company introduced after Wizards of the Coast no longer was printing Pokemon cards. It went back to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, and so they started printing them. And these basically are like shiny Pokemon. I think this is like a shining Mewtwo's color. You see there's a little gold star up in the text. Now, again, fun story for this card. As you can probably tell, this card is by no means mint or near mint or moderately played or light played. This is basically borderline damaged. However, ooh, look at that. However, this is a card that I think I did mention in one of my videos before, and I'll give you a bit of a reminder. This is a card that I got for $5. That's right. It was, again, another shoebox. I think I mentioned it in one of the videos. A shoebox for $5, all bulk Pokemon cards, and this was in it. Now, surprisingly, despite the fact that this is probably going to get like a... I mean, if this thing gets anything above a 1, I'll be impressed. And that's kind of what I'm shooting for. I'm just kind of shooting for this to get anything above a 1. But most likely this is going to come back a 1. And even if it does, I see the ones, like the PSA 1 pours. The PSA 1 pours are going for like, I think up to $200. So for a $5 investment, $20 to get graded, I think it's worth it. At this point, I'm just trying to see if it gets higher than a 1. Which is kind of funny. Alright, the next should be another gold star. And this is Flareon. Again, this is actually a card I got very recently from a reliable guy on the Facebook, one of my Facebook groups I'm part of. As you can tell, this is the Flareon Gold Star. Really, really awesome card. Flareon's like a fan favorite among people, like, you know, the Evolutions and the other Gold Stars. Now, this card definitely has a little bit of wedding around the edges, so I would say that would probably knock it down to like an 8 range. But there is also a little bit of damage here. But I got this card for so cheap that I'm thinking, like, if this thing graded goes for anywhere near $100, then I'm already making, just to kind of give you a bit of a spoiler, I'm already making about $50. So I am hoping that this is, I'm just similar to the Mewtwo, because I got this for so cheap. I'm just trying to see what does this go for. It actually will give me a good idea. I like having low grade cards because it kind of gives me an idea of what does PSA grade things. Like, it kind of gives me like a bit of like a scale, so I can say, okay, if a card has these damages, it knocks it down to like 3, 4, or 5 range, or, you know, what have you. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back like a 3 or 4, maybe less. Who knows? So again, the higher it gets, the better. But I'm not expecting anything like pristine. Let's see. This is the only Japanese card I'm sending in. This is my Japanese Blaine's Charizard. I've had this, I couldn't tell you how long, in one of my old binders, and I just have it for so long. I know it's, if it was an American, a North American print, it would be worth a lot more, but it being the Japanese version, I think it's pretty cool, and I kind of just want to see if this grades highly, which I think it does, or I think it will, so that's kind of cool. And let's see what's next, and Houndoom. This is not a first edition Houndoom. I forget that this is not Neo Destiny, Neo Revelations. This is definitely one of the Neo sets. I actually might say it in the bottom corner. No. Well, either way, this is actually a really, really like nice Houndoom card. Houndoom is actually one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, especially from one of my favorite from the Generation 2. And this was a sample. This is actually a specimen that I got, I think, off of another one of the reliable guys on the Facebook group I'm part of, and it was part of a bigger deal. And I got this card for so cheap that, like, and it's such in good condition, I felt like, well, I would like to see what it goes for. And if it grades high, this card can actually fetch, like, you know, well over $100, which is pretty cool. So we'll see how that goes. All right, coming down to the end of the wire. This, my friends, is a Expeditions Cloister. Now, Expedition, the E-Series, Expeditions, Aquapolis, and Skyridge are some of the most popular sets in Pokemon because they were the ones that introduced the e-reader, like scanner things for like the Game Boy or whatever, or the Game Boy games, and they had such a really unique artwork. I mean, this Cloister looks, the art's very simple, but I'm sorry, like, I just can't help it. I just love this artwork. A lot of people do, and this is a really, really cool card that I actually got. Oh, I think I got this actually in the same box that the Articuno came in. So along with this, actually, I think there's another card here I got from that box too. And they're just in such great shape. And I think overall, I think I paid like $20 for all 4 cards. It was this, the Articuno, and the other card coming up, and I think something else. But regardless, I just wanted to see how highly this card grades for, because I thought it was in pretty good shape. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets like an 8 or a 9. I don't think he'll get a 10, but who knows. This might be the other card. Yes. Okay, this is a base set 2 Blastoise. And again, came in that same like box from the flea market. Definitely some waiting up here. These cards were not getting the sleeves, by the way. They were just kind of like shoved in the box, which is upsetting. But because I got this and the Cloyster and the Articuno and I think another card for $20, I figured like that was just too good of a deal. And I figured like, you know what, this actually isn't that bad of a base set 2 Blastoise, and I kind of want to see what it goes for. If it gets, I'm estimating maybe like an 8, a 9 if I'm lucky. So yeah, we'll see. And Blastoise, as I mentioned, is my favorite of the starters. So I just have a thing for Blastoise. Now this is the Dark Espeon. I think this is Neo Discovery or Neo Genesis. I think Neo Genesis. So Dark Espeon is a really the Watsy Swirl. Love me some Watsy Swirls. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the Neo sets, and Espeon is not my favorite of the Evolutions, but I do appreciate Espeon for just being like a really cool card. His art, all of Espeon's cards are always nice, and Espeon I think is like a fan favorite alongside Umbreon. I personally like Umbreon more than Espeon. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. There's like tape like on the outside of this sleeve. Actually, I think this is the sleeve that the individual what was I gonna say? The individual sold this to me in this sleeve, so I kind of just kept it in here. I thought it just saved me time instead of trying to pulling it out. So that's what the tape is. The tape is on the outside of this case. But yeah, I just wanted, it's because this card was just so nice, and I just wanted to see what it will grade for. Again, maybe one of the cards I don't really have to get graded, but I was just thinking like, yeah, why not? It's nice enough to get graded. And Shining Celebi, this actually is one of the Shining Pokemon that I'm considering to get graded. This I got in a collection from a guy who actually was kind of shady, and I actually regret buying the cards from him because the cards, it was basically me being really foolish, and I spent maybe a little bit. This is probably like 3 years ago, and I spent a little too much money that I wanted to spend, and I got this card thinking like this would basically make the whole collection worth it. And if you'll see, the front of the card looks pretty nice, but there is something that made me get really frustrated, and it was. There was some whiting up here. Where was it? There is. There it is. We see that. Right there is a dent, and he did not show me that dent. It was my fault for not being diligent and looking at the card close enough. And so when I got that, I'm like, well, that kind of basically made this collection I bought. Like there were some good cards in the collection, but the Celebi is kind of what sold the collection. And so basically, I did lose a little bit of money at the time. Now the Shining Pokemon have gone up since then, so I think it basically bounced back, and I'm okay now. But regardless, I was hoping that this was one of those like near mint Celebis, but I think that would definitely knock it down to a light play, which really sucks. Maybe even moderately play, because dents are really bad when it comes to like condition. But regardless, a beautiful card, and I kind of just want to see what it goes for. I think only 2 more cards. This is a Shining Noctowl. This I did pick up from another individual from Facebook, and this is actually a really, really nice first edition Shining Noctowl. Not one of my favorite of the Shining Pokemon, but just because I just don't really come by first ed Shining Pokemon very often, I felt it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. I did acknowledge this card did have some whiting on the back, I think in the corner. Yeah, there. These are a little unfortunate. I think the front actually was pretty clean. Centering looked really solid. So I just had this card for this is probably also like 3 years, and I just felt like, you know, I think it's time to see what this guy goes for. Again, considering that the Shining Pokemon have been going up in price. I actually have a couple of Shining Gyarados that I was considering of putting in this pile, and I didn't do it. So just a little food for thought. I did have a Shining Gyarados that I was considering being graded. And now to wrap it up, I have this boy's big brother. No, it's not a first edition base set Charizard. However, it is a shadowless base set Charizard. Now, I'm going to give you guys just a heads up. I'm going to come up front with you. This card's not going to get anywhere near like an 8, 9, or 10. I just know it's not. However, this is a Charizard I got off eBay a while for. Yeah, I think it was actually a bid. It was a bid, and I bid really low because no one else was bidding on it. I'm like, let me see what happens. And I won the card. I can't explain why. Got the card for insanely cheap, and I had a shadowless Charizard that I had in my binder as like my binder copy. Then I got this. I'm like, oh wow, this is obviously like a nicer version because it definitely is in better condition. By no means a mint card. You can tell that there's whitening on the bottom here. There's whitening on top. Excuse me. There's some scuffs here. I think the back's actually not that bad, but again, some scuffs on the corners. I think on the front also there definitely are some blemishes. I know I found them. Whoops, I'm shaking the camera. I know I found some, but I just can't. Let's see. Cause that you might see some blemishes, but they're just on like the plastic on the not the booster, the sleeve. All right, maybe the front's a little better than I thought. I could have swore I saw some blemishes on this card that I thought it'll get graded pretty low. All right, well anyway, I'm still going to go with my initial gut and say that this card probably won't grade higher than a 6. If it does get a 6 or a 7, if it gets a 7, I'll be floored. If it gets anything higher than that, I might take my pants off and celebrate. So, let's see. Again, this guy's a 9. I think if you were to compare these guys to each other, like as far as like the backs and stuff, I think even just like right there, you can kind of just tell that like, yes, the shading's different. That's because different years when the cards were printed, but you kind of just tell like this left one has a lot more blemishes in the back. This one has like very little to none. I would say basically none. The front of this card is pretty clean though. So this actually was a really good card to maybe keep in a binder, but I felt like, yeah, let me just see what this guy goes for. I was kind of pretty excited to see. So yeah, I'm hoping for a 6, but 7 or higher, I'll be pleasantly surprised. And yeah, guys, so that's it for the Pokemon video. You guys saw the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and now I just want to show all the Pokemon cards I want to get graded. And again, if you think any of these cards are just not worth getting graded, I would definitely agree with you guys if you think the Hyper Rare cards are not worth getting graded. Because I have Hyper Rare Tyrannotars that I just absolutely love, but I think even like in PSA 10, they're just not worth that much. So it's kind of like, well, why bother wasting the money getting them graded? But maybe that'd be like a future thing. But yeah, if you guys you can vote down below in the comments. Let me know which ones are your favorite, which ones you definitely want to see getting graded. Again, I would love to get them all graded, but I might take the Hyper Rares out. Who knows? Maybe you guys can convince me otherwise. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys didn't catch out the Yu-Gi-Oh video, if you are a Yu-Gi-Oh fans, check it out. I have a lot of really cool Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I want to send out to PSA. Now I believe they are accepting orders, not bulk orders, but they are accepting the normal orders. So I'm hoping to get these cards back maybe by the end of the summertime. It all depends on when I do eventually send them out. So with all that said, I hope you guys liked this video, and thanks again for watching. Take it easy.